Hello, my name is Chris Worden and I'm going to talk to you today about intercompany loans. In fact, specifically, I'm going to talk to you about intercompany loans when the company goes into liquidation. So I'll tell you some scenarios I've had over the years, right? You're a director of a company, you own more than one company, and this company A has become insolvent, okay? But a year or two previous to becoming insolvent, you as director of company A have lent another one of your companies a amount of money. It's called an intercompany loan, right? It's not a problem when company A is still tootling along paying its bills, but company A has become insolvent. I'm going to give you two examples, right? One of them was a business that had lent his property company a sizable amount of money. He'd lent the property company £85,000 a few years previous. So this was a problem in liquidation because an insolvency practitioner has to try and recover that money that the insolvent company lent to the property company. And what the insolvency practitioner does, it goes to recover that money, brings the money in and distributes that money to creditors, because the intercompany loan is an asset that sits on the balance sheet of the insolvent company. So this property company, listen, if it didn't have any equity, if the insolvency practitioner had very little chance of recovering any money, then it's highly likely the intercompany loan wouldn't have been paid off. It would have been written off. But this company, this property company that took the intercompany loan had hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of equity. So it actually had to pay it all back. It paid the insolvency practitioner the £85,000 back over 12 months, and the insolvency practitioner distributed that money. Okay. In some circumstances, you'll get a discount or a deal done on an intercompany loan, but it's very dependent on how the financial standing is of the company that took the loan. If it's got property, if it's got cash, if it's got assets, it's not going to get as good a deal as something that hasn't got anything. Which brings me on to example 2. There was another company that we was approached. It was actually during COVID, and it was hospitality business. And a year previous to COVID, when the world was fine, everybody was making money, the insolvent business, what become insolvent because of COVID, had lent its sort of, not sister company, it's the wrong word. It basically run a cafe in another part of the UK, and it lent the cafe £50,000 in good times and in good faith. Now, obviously, when COVID happened, these businesses took an absolute battering, and that one sadly never survived. So they come to us for advice, and we had to look at, well, you've lent this company £50,000, and we've got to look at, well, can we recover that money? Can we actually get the money from that company that he was also the director of to repay creditors? But actually, there was no money in that company. It literally owned some tables and chairs and some second-hand cafe machinery. It wasn't worth anything, you know. So the insolvency practitioner had to write that debt off. I hope I've explained how intercompany loans work. They're really important because if you've got one, you're going to have to know, and you go into liquidation, you need to understand how that liquidator is going to react to the intercompany loan, and if the other company is going to have to pay it back, and if they are going to pay it back, how much they're going to have to pay back. Hope you found this video useful. Chris Word, bye-bye.